It's Tuesday, May 26th. I'm Lucie Steiner.
And I'm Sam Seder. Which of these stories will you be talking about today?
Republicans have declared all-out war on vote by mail, suing the California government over its plans to mail out a ballot for the November general election to every voter. This is the hill they're going to die on, so be ready. Meanwhile, Trump's decision last month to declare meatpacking plants part of the country's critical infrastructure is having predictable consequences, as the virus rips through massive factories that are failing to track the number of sick employees. And lastly, in a deranged demonstration started by gun rights activists in Kentucky, protesters hung an effigy of Governor Andy Beshear in front of the state capitol building, lashing out against the Democratic leader's public health measures. Very normal country we've got here.
You are listening to Majority FM's AM Quickie, and these are the stories you need to know.
Every election cycle, the Republican Party does whatever it possibly can to suppress voting, particularly among demographics it can't win. The reason for this is simple. Democrats have the numbers, and Republicans know the only way they can win nationally is to keep turnout low and hope to squeak by in the Electoral College. This year, it's now clear that their main attack will be voting by mail. On Sunday, the Republican National Committee filed suit against the state of California to stop its government from distributing vote-by-mail ballots to every voter in the state for the November election. The Republican argument is that voting by mail, quote, invites fraud, unquote. There's no evidence that vote by mail or voting in general invites fraud, but that's what they're going with. According to CNN, the GOP is spending more than $20 million on various attempts to block vote by mail nationwide. The suit is aimed at California, but as every state prepares to figure out how to administer the November election and mitigate the risks of COVID-19, we're bound to see many more battles like this along the way. So keep an eye on California and see if the GOP's lawsuit makes it anywhere in the courts. In the month since Trump declared America's meatpacking plants part of the country's critical industry, things have gotten worse for the working people on the line. The New York Times reports that hundreds of meatpacking plants across the country are being tight-lipped about their coronavirus cases, refusing to publish the number of employees who have fallen ill. State and local officials also won't give or don't have the data. The CDC estimates that at least 5,000 meatpacking workers across the country have gotten the disease. But last week, one nonprofit estimated that there could be as many as 17,000 cases in the industry. The fact that the big corporations are keeping mum about the stats doesn't look good because it only benefits them to keep things quiet. As more and more workers get sick, it could cause the shortages that keeping plants open was supposed to prevent. One study estimated supply drops of 35% and price increases of whatever's left. To give you an idea of what the government thinks of all this, on CNN on Monday, Kevin Hassett, a senior economic advisor to the president, said, quote, "Our human capital stock is ready to get back to work," unquote. That's right, he referred to people putting their lives on the line in the same terms as the animals they butcher. That about says it all.
Hey, Majority.fm's AM Quickie is fueled by JustCoffee.coop. Just Coffee is a worker-owned coffee roaster based in Madison, Wisconsin that has sponsored the Majority Report for nearly a decade. Check out their collection of fair trade roasts, including our own Majority Report blend, and regardless of what you order, receive 10% off of your order when you use the code MAJORITY at checkout. All shipping, of course, is free. That's coupon code MAJORITY at justcoffee.coop.
The ill-advised protests against public health measures reached a new surreal height in Kentucky on Sunday when a group of gun rights protesters got agitated about Governor Andy Beshear's policies and decided to hang him in effigy. The protesters strung up a stuffed dummy with a picture of Beshear's face on it in a tree on the Capitol lawn. A freelance journalist, Gary Sevo James, got the whole thing on video. He told CNN that the effigy was a final extreme act, even though many people had already left the protest, calling it, quote, chilling. Beshear has been relatively even-handed in his approach to public health, relaxing restrictions on his state very gradually compared to some of his fellow governors in the Midwest and South. The protests against these measures are limited. Polling shows that these are mostly a very loud minority. But hanging Beshear in effigy is a good signifier of the level these people are playing on. Their goal is to polarize and further inflame the discourse around the issue in hopes of forcing more people to take a side. Seeing as the president appears to be mostly on their side, it could work, which makes it all the more important for the rest of us to stay the sane and rational course of maintaining social distance and not toting guns around government buildings. Big ask, I know, but that's not the move right now.
And now, for some quicker quickies.
Quicker Quickie.
The first of two oil tankers from Iran has arrived in Venezuela to alleviate the country's dire gas shortage. brought on by both the dysfunction of the authoritarian Maduro regime and crippling U.S. sanctions on the country, which have largely harmed its civilian population. The move was strongly opposed by the Trump administration, which has pushed to further cripple or even overthrow Maduro's government, pushing Venezuela even closer to Iran. Progressive influencer Sean King's strange money troubles continue to mount. After raising a significant subscriber base, bringing it up to $1.5 million a year, King's latest venture into journalism has failed to materialize, according to a new report by the Daily Beast. The project, called the North Star, has largely fallen apart, according to more than half a dozen former staffers who called King, in so many words, an incompetent control freak. Joe Biden made his first public appearance at an unannounced visit to a veterans park near his home in Delaware, where he and his wife Jill placed a commemorative wreath. Both wore masks, which quickly inspired a truly dumb take by Fox News analyst Brit Hume, who implied that Biden looks stupid in the mask. Got him, Brit. And finally, a royal commission in Australia found that the summer of devastating bushfires caused an estimated 445 deaths and hospitalized 4,000. The deaths are more than 4 times the country's death toll from coronavirus to date, highlighting how dire the climate crisis is outside of the pandemic currently dominating headlines.
Quickie.
That's it, folks. Thanks for listening to the Majority.fm's AM Quickie. Sam?
Thank you, Lucie. Tune into the Majority Report live today at noon, folks, or later, wherever your podcasts are found.